Call to order. Will we the warrant?
Privileged to be here. Would you get me in prayer? Loving God, our creator, redeemer, teacher, guide. This is a glorious day that you have made, and we are glad to be a part of it. I pray for this council meeting today. Thank you for the men and women who give of their time and energy, vision to serve this community. We give you praise for the nation and this place in which we live. We truly love it. We want to see it continue to thrive and prosper. Although we are not perfect, our nation grants everyone the freedom of opportunity to flourish and seek happiness. These privileges are given by you, God. May the work of this body continue to advance those God-given values for everyone. Lord, we acknowledge we live in a troubled time, but the troubles aren't new. In fact, they're very old. Our prayers today continue to be for peace and for peacemakers. Would you give us the courage and insight to live into our heritage of freedom and justice for all, even as we deliberate important matters for our own regional family? Give the council members wisdom and guidance as they deliberate on the items before them, as they discuss budgets and property issues and security matters that affect youth and old people like me, that they might make good personnel decisions and discuss infrastructure topics that will advance our community. We pray for the employees of DPI as they search for new opportunities. We know that this is a serious hit to our community, and we pray for the families who are struggling today and are likely being forced to make quick adjustments, and for wisdom as they assess what lies ahead. Bless the agencies and the community assets which will provide good news for them. And for this body today, may every choice be righteous in your sight. May decisions be characterized by wisdom and be for our benefit and for your glory. And God, protect those who serve and give their lives for this great nation and this lakeside community by their sacrifice and service. We particularly lift up those who are on the streets in uniform, for EMS, for firefighters, for those who are being deployed around the world, as well as our community of veterans. Protect them and their families from harm. To you be all glory. In the name of Jesus, our Redeemer, I pray. Amen.
Okay, we'll start off with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call.
Commissioner LaHaye,
Here.
Commissioner Osmer,
Here.
Commissioner Lalone,
Here.
Commissioner Peterson,
Here.
Commissioner Fournier,
Here.
Commissioner Francisco,
Here.
Commissioner Kozlowski.
Here. Okay, we have a motion, or looking for a motion to adopt the agenda. I would like to add two things to the agenda. First one is a discussion of the outstanding invoices for the recycling NMMA. Could add that, we'll have that after the bills. That right after motion to pay all bills. And then, well, all of you should have received the grant for 911 last night. So we'll add that in. I didn't really look at a good place to add. Why don't we start with that after public comment? Right after public comment. Anybody else have anything that they wanted to add or?
Mr. Chairman, what I'd like to do is pull one item from the consent calendar for
specific discussion, and that would be the Personnel Committee results from 21 February.
We'll get to that one.
Okay, very well.
It's on calendar. So I'm looking if nobody else has any other additions or questions or anything for the agenda. I'm just looking for an emotion with those two things that I've added.
I make that motion.
We have a motion by Commissioner Fournier
I'll support.
and support by Commissioner Lowell. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those same sign. Okay. Moving into public comment. We have a public comment right now, and we have an opportunity for anyone to speak for 3 minutes. Just come up to the podium and indicate your name and your address, and we'll go from there.
Hi, Kevin Genter, 390 South Lawn in Alpena. I've been here a couple times in the past in regards to public safety. That's what this is about again. I'm here to address an ongoing and troubling issue at the Alpena Township. This specifically addresses the lack of concern by public officials there in regards to the public safety, not only the people of Alpena Township, but the people of Alpena County. Alpena Township is the largest land area in the county at approximately 120 square miles, depending on what source you look at. It's also the largest taxable value as of 2022 over the city of Alpena by over $100 million. Let's move on. And an approximate population of about 10,000 each, a little bit more for the city, a little less for the township. For over 8 years, public officials there have been focused on what I would characterize as getting rid of the fire department. Officials recently, about a month ago, approved up to $10,000 in an apparent cash-strapped environment to hire another consultant to pinpoint the direction of the fire department. The current fire chief has spent many hours developing a plan and giving the township all the information they should have and should need for developing a plan. It just continued to avoid addressing it. Dissolving the department, contracting, or putting the department at an all-volunteer situation or setup would put all the lives of Alpena County residents, because when you call for mutual aid, that's approximately 20 less firefighters you have available to respond either to neighbors like Alpena City or Maple Ridge and so on. Alpena Township has operated numerous decades at 1 mil for the township operation, with sometimes a little bit more for fire department millage. I find it interesting that one would think the costs are going to remain the same over years and years. You can't continue to operate 120 square miles on 1 mil operating, where in the city they have 16. And if you add the ambulance fund, it would be another 1.5 mil. With the charter township status, with the status of charter township, Alpena Township could raise up to 5 additional mills with no public vote. But I would say they avoid that at all costs because it would be political suicide. Thank you.
Anybody else for public comment? Anybody on Zoom?
No one's raising their hand.
Okay. We'll close the public comment. I do have one thing. I know it was mentioned earlier with the DPI closing, and I want to thank the Commissioner's Office for their work in getting a resource flyer out on our website, along with many other places within the city. I do appreciate that, but just as a public comment for anybody that is looking for some of the resources, I'm sure there are a lot of resources out there that we have posted. I just wanted to make that point, and I do appreciate again that you guys were able to get that together. Okay. So next up is we're going to do the 911 HMEP grant.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Thank you for the last minute ad. The end of last week, I received our application for the hazardous materials emergency preparedness grant through the Emergency Management and Homeland Security Division of Michigan State Police. The grant is for a $1,500 support grant for our emergency management office. However, the grant can be more than that depending on the level of federal funding that comes through and the number of applications they receive. Last year, we thought we were getting $1,500 and we ended up with $2,795. So I'm here before you today to receive approval to submit that grant application. It's due by this Friday back to the state.
Was everyone able to get a chance to review the grant? Just looking for a motion.
I'll make it.
We got a motion by Commissioner Peterson and support by Commissioner Fournier. A discussion on the grant. The only comment I would have or question I would have is one of the things, and I know that I've told the Commissioner's office, moving forward, I want to eliminate these last minute things. One of the things that I noticed as I reviewed this was last year we received it 20 days earlier. We received it completed by the 7th February. And I guess my question is, because on the grant, it actually states 1 March. So my question is, can we, because I would think if we're going to put in for this, let's do this and start working it in January, beginning of February, so it could be ready for the facilities or the.
So this is just the application, then they'll send us an agreement in the spring. We don't actually submit our receipts and everything for reimbursement until fall. But there's a new gentleman in this particular role this year, so the applications came out late.
So they actually, this document here is the actual document that they sent.
Well, it's a fillable
Yeah.
document, but yeah, we received that by email from the state.
But like I said, the one thing that I noticed was it's literally stated 1 March.
Yes,
I'm like, why would they wait to the last second? and send it?
yes. And I did send an email to Lieutenant DeCastro just about that it's causing a rush. I'm sure I'm not the only one.
Well, and again, my first thing is, I don't like adding a bunch of stuff to the agenda, especially when we have an agenda already set up. We have the deadlines that we've talked about as commissioners that we need to start enforcing. And I did at I think one of the previous meetings that someone had asked to add something and I said no. Obviously with this one, I'd rather do this than do a poll vote. So,
And that was my initial request to the commissioner's office. Is it easier just to do a poll vote? And they said they would notify you. So that's why I'm here making the request. And again, I do apologize. I just didn't receive it in time to do anything else.
okay. Does anyone else have any other questions, comments about this grant? If not, we'll take a roll call. So before I get there, I guess you stated that last year we put in for 1,500 and we actually got 27.
2775, yes.
So how do we get more? I would think if you put in for 1,500, I'm going to give you 1,500.
We were pleasantly surprised as well. So part of the grant is we get credit for activities of our LEPC committee. We also, and so the fiscal year for Homeland Security started October 1st. So we've already been tracking since October 1st, all of Al's time working on LEPC activities, all the activities in our emergency management office on preparedness and planning for industry partners who have quantities of hazardous materials that we have to prepare for in the event of some kind of release. So we've already been working on all of this since October 1st in preparation to be able to claim those expenses for this grant in the fall at the year end September 30. So we will submit all of his payroll records for the items that we've been tracking. We also pay for licenses every year. And I know Chief Edmonds is here. He can back me up on this. We pay for licenses every year so that his office and our office, we can track by March 1st of every year, any industrial partner or farm or anyone in the county who has a hazardous material that exceeds a specific quantity related to that material, we have to prepare an action plan from our office for that, and it goes through LEPC, and then we end up sharing it with the first responder partners who would actually respond should there be a release of that agent. So we get reimbursed for creating new plans. The plans have to be reviewed every year that partner continues to have that quantity in inventory. So we get reimbursement for those plans being updated and reviewed every year. We can also get, we review the county's emergency operating procedures manual. There's a number of different things we can get reimbursed for. Last year, they did increase, we had to create one new response plan last year, and they increased the amount for a response plan last year to almost $1,800. So I believe that is what provided the significant increase last year. But this year, we have no way to know what we'll get, but the application says 1,500. That's what it said last year.
So our county share was 300 last year, we didn't have to contribute any additional.
So that $300 is actually in kind.
Okay.
So, for example, last year, what we claimed as our in-kind expense is we went back because we have a PDF document of the meeting packets, and Commissioner Lalonde and Commissioner Francisco and you yourself probably historically have attended those meetings. We went back and we counted how many members we have, so how many packets we prepared for each, because it's quarterly meetings. So we had enough in copy charges for our in-kind contribution to that last year. And that was the only thing we had to contribute, was we counted how many color and black and white copies that we made.
Okay, all right, thank you. I know I'm the only one that's asking the questions here, so I'm just gonna stop asking the questions. You guys ready to? Okay. Roll call.
Commissioner LaHaye,
Yes.
Commissioner Osmer,
Yes.
Commissioner Lalonde,
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson,
Yes.
Commissioner Fournier,
Yes.
Commissioner Francisco,
Yes.
Commissioner Kozlowski.
Yes.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay, next up is the action item 1, which is the district probate court increase.
Good afternoon. This year requesting a final payment for our new BIS recording equipment that was successfully installed in our courtroom on February 9th of this year. In October of 2023, there was a budget adjustment submitted for $30,049.96 to the equipment replacement fund. And at that time, a 50% deposit was made to BIS. I believe it was sent out around October 31st. And this is just the balance after installation that is due. It's a little less than what they initially quoted because we had a credit, but the final invoice is $14,452.98.
Okay, so do we have anyone willing to make a motion?
I'll make the motion.
We have a motion
Second.
and a support.
Thank you.
Discussion.
Thank you.
Well, wait a minute, we didn't. You're thinking we're not even done. yet.
she gave a nice long presentation.
Discussion, any discussions, any questions? I'll let somebody else ask a couple questions.
Is the system working as well as you expected it to be?
It is.
Okay,
Allows us to be ADA compatible as well
Okay.
for individuals who have hearing deficit, which we just encountered that problem just this last month. So
Okay.
that was really nice.
good. Okay, thanks.
Copy.
So you guys asked for a decrease in the budget, so we moved, because I was looking at the attachments. We decreased that line last year by 30,000. I think it was like 45 or something like that
That line item, so
last year.
from last year, the budget amount was, for the recording was 30,000. 30,000,
Okay, so we decreased
50.
it by the,
by the amount we didn't spend, and it wasn't carried over. So this would basically be a carryover, and this is out of the 402 equipment fund.
so it is actually out of the fund, so this isn't gonna,
No, right, and that fund has $436,000 fund balance. Currently budgeted 66,000, which would leave $370,000 available in that fund. And this is an expense that you had previously approved in full. And because of the budgeting process being done earlier, you don't necessarily know what you were going to need to quote unquote.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, roll call.
Commissioner Osmer,
Yes.
Commissioner Lalone,
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson,
Yes.
Commissioner Fournier,
Yes.
Commissioner Francisco,
Yes.
Commissioner LaHaye,
Yes.
Commissioner Kozlowski.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're at the consent calendar and everyone's chomping at the bit to pull that one particular item.
Yeah, that's action item PM number.
We'll pull action item PM one on the consent calendar. Any other items? Anybody has questions or any question that I have when I went through it, Kim, PM three, there was no line item on that. Is that going to be a problem?
Oh, they'll have to figure it out, won't they?
Well, that's why
Yeah, we'll have to get a line item for it.
I noticed that as I was going through last night and I'm like, Kim's going to kill us. Who was the one that made that motion? Not the line item.
Oh.
Yeah, okay, so we'll figure that out if I need you to,
Yeah, and as long as the line item is put in the board action, we're good.
okay,
So,
okay.
but it does need to be at least in the board action.
In addition to, PM action item one, as it's written, there was discussion in the actual personnel committee minutes that talked about changing the educational requirements for that position. I don't see that on there, but I'd like to have that also included as part of the discussion.
We can have that as a discussion. I don't know. Well, we can have that as a discussion, I guess. So if there's nothing else on the consent calendar, we'll pull that. Need a motion for approval of the consent calendar.
I'll make the motion to improve the consent calendar as amended.
A motion
I'll support.
and support by Commissioner Lalone. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Oh, sorry, yep.
Yeah.
Been carried away.
Commissioner Lalone,
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson,
Yes.
Commissioner Fournier,
Yes.
Commissioner Francisco,
Yes.
Commissioner LaHaye,
Yes.
Commissioner Osmer,
Yes.
Commissioner Kozlowski.
Yes. Okay, so now I guess we'll have the conversation with the PM one.
Bill was first, or Commissioner LaHaye was first. I'll let him.
We're gonna get a quality candidate here. We're gonna have to up the salary to probably at least 125,000. And then I want to see some educational requirements there too, because if we don't put that in there, we're not gonna get a quality. And the Amy Sell recommended that we go somewhere around $130,000. So we're not gonna get anybody in this 85, 95,000 range.
Well, and I'll just say that we pushed the 85 to 95 because we knew that there was going to have to be discussion. My only, or not only, I guess it's my main concern with this is, we had a former county administrator who was not a county administrator when she came here. And I'm under the belief that, we're going to have to come to an agreement here, but I feel that we can get a quality person and we're not going to have to pay 130. That's my feeling.
I'm not gonna interview the quality people because they won't come up here for $85,000.
Again, we're going to have to decide on this, but I feel that we can get a quality person without paying 130. I know that for a fact.
I don't agree with that, so.
I had made the motion for 95 to 115 to start off. And that got shot down, so I voted yes on 85, 95 just to get on the discussion board.
Yeah. Well,
I noticed, if I may, Chair, I noticed in that discussion with the salary range also that the previous formal education requirement of a bachelor's degree being required was amended to, we'd kind of like to have a bachelor's degree but we would consider experience in lieu of a formal education. With this type of an administrative position and the management responsibilities, I mean, formal education is essential. in my opinion, for somebody to take on that kind of leadership and management style, and especially with the higher salary range. I don't know. I'm asking why we downgraded, if you will, the civilian or formal education requirement from required to preferred.
So I can answer that because I was the one that said that. During our meetings in personnel, I specifically said that I would be willing to accept something because I work with a bunch of, or not a bunch, I work with people, I know of people that have had years of experience working in a particular area. We'll just say finance. And they don't have a finance degree, but I know that they would be capable of doing stuff in the finance field, particularly the particular area that they work in, that I would be satisfied hiring somebody to do something in that particular area. And at least with this, I feel the same way as that. So to say that we downgraded, I don't feel like we downgraded it because when we literally talked to Amy Sell, I specifically said in the beginning that that was one of my requirements or one of the specifications or specific things that I would like to have in there is to say formal education, yes, but do not require a formal education experience would qualify in that area. So when she did this, when she brought it to us last week, I said that part wasn't in there. And then she said she would or change it to or modify it to include that experience is equivalent to education. Because again, like I said, here's the thing, here's how I look at this. You could have just graduated college. You could have zero experience, but you have a bachelor's degree in something. Do you hire that person that has zero experience that has a bachelor's degree? Or someone that has years of experience that you know is fully capable of doing the job?
So do you want me to answer that now or?
You can answer it.
All right, so with a person with formal education, we know and understand that they've gone through a rigorous, somewhat rigorous academic process and have demonstrated their capability and their abilities to perform, at least in an academic environment. So I think that needs to be considered. And formal education, I think, is something, especially when we're going to offer this. Now, how do we take a look at experience and go from a subjective evaluation to an objective evaluation? How do you measure experience to equal something that would be provided through a formal education? I would prefer somebody with formal education and experience, obviously. And typically that's what you'll get. Now, if we get a person that came out of the university and have no experience, then we could say, yeah, okay, guess we're not going to select that person. But at least we have a threshold of somebody with a formal education and that has demonstrated through that, the academic process that they have achieved a certain amount of competence.
I know speaking on the interviews that we had for the county administrator previously, we had, I believe, 5 individuals. I can't remember if it was 5 or 4, but out of those individuals that put in, I think only one of them actually had previous experience as a county administrator. We didn't go with that person. So again, the former county administrator had no county administrator experience and we still chose her.
However, she had management and management experience.
So let me ask you this. So you're saying, so someone that has management experience would be qualified then for this position?
They may be.
Even if they didn't have a bachelor's degree?
They may be.
Okay.
But a bachelor's degree, again, provides a baseline for a more senior, if you will, leadership and management administrative position.
Well, and again, I'm not saying that you eliminate those people with a bachelor's degree, but I'm also saying that I think that we need to be inclusive of those people that may have the experience.
Well,
And that's why I said.
What are you gonna put in? How many years you gonna put in experience? 1 year, 2 year, 5 years, 10
That's
years?
something that Amy Sell can review, because that's not going to be
Yeah.
left up to us.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I think that's something that we need to tell Amy Zell because she's waiting on us right now.
Yeah.
And I also think that we need a baseline for the education. So even if you guys want to waive the bachelor's degree, I think we still need to say at least a high school diploma, associate's degree, something. We can't just not have an educational requirement.
Well, and I don't think she eliminated that. I thought she was still, when we talked, it was a bachelor's preferred, but equivalent experience would qualify. So we need to define what that experience is. So I guess going back to the salary portion of it, I guess that I feel like this is going to be probably the bigger sticking point. If we've got 7 commissioners here that when we had that personnel meeting, she literally listed off those salary ranges. And out of the 10 that we had, I think only 2 of them were even, and 2 of them were pretty close, but we had anything from the bottom end, which was it 70 or 65?
65, I think.
5 all the way up to 130. So obviously, that's not going to be our salary range. We need to narrow that. But again, and I'll just add this, I don't know how spending $130,000 on a county administrator in a position that we are financially to be able to spend that kind of money. And I know that people that I've talked to are not supportive of that.
I've heard the other thing. I've heard it. You hire what you get. You
Well,
pay for what you get. And, I mean,
but again, I'm not saying we got Mary Catherine and we paid her $100,000.
I think was well worth it.
Well, but I'm not saying we need to jump up to 130. I definitely don't
Well, I
agree with
mean-
that.
Well, you got to go someplace in between, maybe.
So last time we said 85 to 115. That's what we did the last time.
85 to 115. I'd mentioned 95 to 115.
I don't, was it,
85 is not enough.
I can't remember, was it 85? I can't remember.
95. I said 95.
No, it
Gets that
it
done.
was, yeah, 85 to 115 because it ended up right smack dab in the middle.
I said 80 to 95.
I guess my viewpoint is, I'd like to see like a $20,000 range as far as wage, wherever we land on it. I mean, if you're being a little bit more lenient on the requirements for the position, then I think you need a little bit of range as far as what we're paying. I think if you're gonna dig your heels on like bachelor's degree and some other requirements, then I think you have to be on your higher end range. You know what I mean? If you're gonna open it up, which I'm not opposed to, saying, okay, associate, I think some education you have to have. I'm not opposed to like associate's degree with, I don't know, 4 years experience of management or something like that, just because I know like my role in my other job. So I work in finance truly, and in sales, and I have degrees, but that's not my degree. And somebody took a chance on me and I've excelled and done really well for myself. So I actually do like the option of opening that up for somebody to be interviewed. Not saying you're going to give them the job, but they get a shot to get interviewed and possibly being there. But I think your wage, it's got to be up there. But I think we are just going to have to make a decision. We have to make a decision today. I mean, we have to come
We're
together.
not leaving here until the
No,
decision's.
Amy Sells said, she's gonna take this, top 10.
Yeah.
She's gonna do the interviewing for us and grade those applicants. And it's up to us to pick out those top 5 and interview them.
Well,
So, I mean, she's gonna do the legwork for us.
yeah,
I myself don't even think we need a county administrator.
I do.
Tammy Bates did an excellent job. We only paid her 68,000 a year. I don't think the person that we hire needs to have a degree. Tammy Bates, like I said, she did an excellent job. I myself, as far as paying them, I was 85 to 95. And I'm looking at DPI of close to 200 families now, no jobs. That's gonna hurt Alpena County. It's gonna hurt everybody. And how can we afford to pay over $100,000 per person to take care of business for an Alpena County? We're quite capable of doing it ourselves. We won't be able to afford to pay this person over 100,000. Like I said, DPI, it's gonna hurt Alpena, it's gonna hurt everybody. Alpena County, people are gonna lose their homes. don't believe we need an administrator. And I don't believe that the person that whoever does get hired needs to be paid over $100,000. There's no way.
So we need to come to a decision on a salary range that we're all willing to approve and accept.
I'll make a motion that, go for 100 to 115,000.
Do we have a motion by Commissioner LaHaye,
I'll support that.
support by Commissioner Peterson? Any other discussion? Okay, roll call.
Commissioner Peterson,
Yes.
Commissioner Fournier,
No,
Commissioner Francisco,
No,
Commissioner LaHaye,
Yes.
Commissioner Osmer,
I think he's recused from this being.
He's recused.
sorry, I should have noted that.
Commissioner Lalone,
Sorry, no. I just want a different range.
Commissioner Kozlowski.
No.
Motion failed.
Okay, so I heard two comments about,
What do you suggest?
I'm gonna recommend we go slightly lower. I make a motion that we would start at the lower end of $90,000 up to, as Commissioner Malone indicated, having about a $20,000 span. So from 90 to 110,000 to be considered.
I'll second that motion.
okay, we have a motion and
but
second,
what is?
so 100 or 90 to 100.
To 110, a $20,000 range to give us
I
some
understand
flexibility.
that, but don't we have to have a bottom line?
It is.
I think we did. 90 is at the bottom end and 110 at the top end.
So you're gonna,
His range is saying like yours was 85.
I know,
95.
but I thought we had to turn her in a price of what we
No,
wanted to pay.
No, we have to have a salary.
To have a salary
Just a
range.
salary
Yeah.
range. And then she decides
No, she
what
doesn't
they're
decide.
worth, or
decide.
we
No.
decide what they're worth.
No.
Okay,
So
and it's how much?
90 or.
Low end 90, high 110.
20,000 range difference.
And then that's where you can have a little freedom as far as like requirements.
Be
what to bring to the table.
Okay, motion and support. Any further discussion? Okay, roll call.
Commissioner Fournier,
No,
Commissioner Francisco,
Yes.
Commissioner LaHaye,
No.
Commissioner Lalone,
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson,
Yes.
Commissioner Kozlowski.
No.
It's a tie, so therefore it fails.
Okay,
I make a motion.
let's, how about we have more discussion?
One more
because
discussion before
I
we.
don't want to do this
Throw her out.
30 times, so.
I had my say.
So I know, like I said, we had 135, that's 115 the last time. And again, we just had 90 to 110, which was a $21,000 span. I don't know,
Got 100 to 115.
that was the first one.
Yeah, sorry, I just wrote that. Commissioner Fournier, what are you thinking for numbers? May I ask?
Yeah. I would say 80 to 90.
So
Commissioner Peterson, what are you thinking? I'm just kind of pulling you all, I'm putting you right on the spot. You don't have to
Yeah,
answer if
but
you're
no,
not
I'm gonna-
comfortable.
It's good, minimum is gonna be $100,000 quality candidate.
and I would, if you're polling people, I'm going to say the 85 to 115.
So, I mean, honestly, we're not that far off as far as like the top end. We're kind of literally actually not on different pages as far as that goes. We're like 110, 115, right around there. I guess it sounds like what everybody's kind of having an issue with is the bottom range. I guess before we make any more motions and more discussion, I guess I would encourage everyone to think, you, where you feel like it should sit, like there's your range. Like, don't get so hung up on like 85 or 90 or 95 is your bottom, but like, just look where your window is. So if you think that person should be paid, like, say it's a qualified candidate in your eyes, If you think they should be around 100K, then you know what you vote on, make sure that's in that window where you feel, so.
And I know that when we went in, the 85 to 115 last time was that window. And it wasn't up to us. I mean, we accepted the offer, but we said that was our range and Mary Catherine came back with her.
Or counter offer?
Well, I don't know if it was a counter offer. I don't think we offered her the job. And then, at least as far as I know, she came back with, Frank came back with a proposal of what she would be willing. It wasn't like, this was our range.
Oh.
Now it was in her court to come back to us and say, this is what, and then we either accepted it or not.
Jennifer, you had surrounding area administrators, always did you have that?
I do. I think it was on the last personnel. Let's see.
While she's looking at that, I think the salary range needs to be up there, and I think we're close. I mean, commensurate with the duties and responsibilities, because this is what's going to go out there in the advertisement to encourage people, to apply for the positions and to get fully competent and qualified candidates. We're going to have to offer them certainly a competitive compensation package. Otherwise, people are just not even going to apply.
Right.
That would otherwise, so.
Well, I'll just say, we have 4 people that have already applied and none of them know what the salary.
Understand, one of them applied, they used to have the job years ago and he wants it again. I understand that.
Well, but we have another individual that, again, I don't know all.
You're the chair. You must have all the inside baseball, because I certainly haven't seen any of those resumes. But
Am I the only one getting the 4?
The applications are all on the commissioner's share drive.
on the shared drive, okay.
You got people with degrees working at McDonald's.
Yep. So, like I said, we need to come up with an amount that we're all willing to accept. And again, like I said, we could say, I'm just going to throw numbers out there. We could say 80 to 100, and that person's going to come back and say, I want 100. It doesn't matter. We could say, even if it's not within our salary range, I would think that, well, I guess they probably wouldn't put in if they know it's not in the salary range.
Right.
But again, we had Mary Catherine that just left for a way bigger county than Alpena County. And we're not even going to come close to that. But like I said, I just feel that we need, I was more comfortable when we did this the last time between that range. I think 130 is way on the high end, and I wouldn't be comfortable paying a county administrator 130. That's just my opinion.
And I'm thinking of the people in Alpena with no jobs. And
No, not yet.
I remember, I think, Gaylord was 110
Something like that.
and Sheboygan was 100 and some.
Well,
And I don't know, Oscar just hired an administrator.
so again, I think that if we pick that range similar to what we did last time, we just had a motion for 90 to 110. Again, I think that my personal feeling is, I'd be willing to do the 85 to 115, which covers those areas.
And I'm thinking of the people that don't have jobs and we're spending their money. And for something we could do ourselves.
Well-
I do not want to pay anybody $100,000. There's no way. Unless,
Well, we need to,
You want to make that motion for 85 to
so
150?
I'll make that motion, 85 to 150.
I'll support that one.
he's a chair.
Any discussion?
That, I think you have to have somebody else make the motion because you're.
As the chair,
Yeah, he's the
I'll
chair.
make the motion.
and I'll support it.
See how easy that was?
Yeah.
Not yet.
Okay, so we have a motion, support. Further discussion? Further discussion, roll call.
Commissioner Francisco,
Yes.
Commissioner LaHaye,
Yes.
Commissioner LaLonde,
Yes?
Commissioner Peterson,
Yes.
Commissioner Fournier.
No.
Commissioner Kozlowski.
Yes.
Motion carried.
See how easy that was?
Easy
And
peasy.
I think we also need a motion for the education.
got to do we need to talk about the education and do the education for the requirements for the position.
Okay, go ahead. Commissioner Lalonde, what's your motion?
You don't want me to make the motion?
You're talking, so.
I do though. I personally, it's just my personal experience and perspective. And then also, touching on a little bit of what Commissioner Fournier was talking about. We have a lot of administrative and office personnel from DPI closure. Actually could be great candidates for this position. I'm hesitant to like put certain degrees on there. I definitely think some college education. So as far as I would be concerned, I would say bachelor's degree preferred, but I would also say, at least associate's degree with 3 years experience. But then, you're kind of opening it up a little bit for interpretation, what experience would be.
Yeah.
So I think you'd have to have some wording on that, but that's just, I'm grateful personally that someone very high up actually just saw something in me and took a chance on me, and I didn't quite have the requirements that were for the job, but they approached me and said, please apply anyways. We would be more than happy to help you go to school. So I actually picked out like more degrees so that I, fit the mold, but I've done really well in my job, and I actually have a very, very big job outside of this. But if somebody wouldn't have taken a chance on me, I wouldn't have had that opportunity.
So. We have,
That's just my.
Like to see somebody with some kind of a college degree, maybe in business management or.
and is in there, but it also, like I said, during our discussion, we said that, again, we need to say what that equivalent experience would be. Because again, I personally feel, like Commissioner Malone was saying, we have people that are, and again, I don't know everyone's situation, but I'm sure there's people at DPI that could potentially lose their jobs, like she said, that could have years of experience doing, managing and stuff like that. And again, I don't know everyone's situation, but I do not feel comfortable saying we're going to just narrow it, because again, I've worked with enough people, and I'm sure we're all old enough. We've worked with people that may not have had a degree, but we know they're fully capable of doing a particular job. So what are we looking to make a motion then for?
We can make a motion and put the college degree in there.
Well, the college degree is in.
We could say, we will look at other candidates too, if they have.
And that's when I talked to Amy Sell, that was what I said to her, because it literally on the, in the package or whatever you call it, that she gave us, it listed, educational experience was a bachelor's degree. And I had said that I had previously mentioned in our personnel meeting prior to that, that we need to be inclusive of that experience as a substitute for the college degree.
When the board previously selected Mary Catherine as the county administrator, the educational prerequisites were a bachelor's degree was required, I believe. Okay, so why was that agreed upon then, and we want to change it now?
I'll tell you why, because there was 5 commissioners that made the decision, and there was 3 that didn't.
Right. But it was adopted previously with the bachelor's degree being required. Okay.
Salaries. It was not such.
So to move on, we need to
Right.
either nail this down so we can give Mary, or not Mary Catherine, but
Give me some.
Jennifer, Amy Sell. Yeah. We got one portion of it, we just need to nail down the other portion. So. What do we want to say? Because again, I know, I don't want to keep making motions and then fail, and we need to come up with something so we can put it on the application. We need a motion for something.
We could have just recommend a bachelor's degree.
Well, and again, that's in there.
Degree or something.
That is in there currently. My comment to Amy Sell was to also include job experience as a substitute for a bachelor's
I
degree.
might be comfortable if it was a bachelor's degree or at least 10 years of management experience.
I have a question I'd like to ask Officer Smith, Eric.
Yeah.
Does officers have to have a degree to apply, to apply for a sheriff, to the sheriff's department? Would you have to have a degree?
And double-edged sword. If we sponsor you, you do not have to have a degree to get into a police academy. If you are trying to seek your own amendments into the police academy, you have to have a minimum of an associate's degree.
Say I was to go into the sheriff's department and want to apply for a job.
They're not going to take you. They know
No
you're
one's
too
giving you
well.
a gun, Commissioner Fournier.
Oh, I have experience. Would you hire me?
It would without being a certified police officer, you wouldn't have an experience as a police officer. That makes sense?
It does.
So
I had a reason why I asked that.
you mentioned experience. Would you be willing to make a motion to come down a little bit with the experience? So that way, because again, I think there's someone that's been doing a particular job. Maybe not 10 years, because 10 years is quite a long time. I don't know if that person is going to be the guy or person out there that's. I would be comfortable with what you're saying, but maybe a little bit less of the experience.
I can't understand why this college education is such a big thing. I just can't. If you know what you're doing and you apply for the job, why do you have to have a college?
Well, and I think we're trying to get there.
Well, I know we're trying to get there,
Well, no,
but
we're
why
trying
is
to
it?
get there with.
If you got the experience, why do you have to have a college degree? Something's going on in this board. They got somebody already picked out that they want, and that person has the degree. Well, if that person has experience, I'm sitting up here with a high school diploma, and I'm a county commissioner taking care of my district. I don't have no degree. I have a diploma. Unless they're gonna start changing that too, well, then I wouldn't qualify. But
Well,
no.
let's, like I said, let's try to
They
come up
have
with
the experience. They don't have to come in here with a big, long degree.
well, and I
Mary
think what-
Catherine come in here. She was not ever a county administrator,
well,
but she
again,
got chosen.
She had to.
When she left here,
Management
when
experience.
she left.
Do you have any
here-
management experience?
Well, so what? We can
You
have a
have-
person with management experience.
Have any
There
managed?
you go. Management experience.
At least-
Not a degree, management experience.
Well, that's what he's saying.
That's what I'm saying. You
But
have-
they gotta have
you're
a
not listening,
degree.
Brenda.
Yes, I am.
You're just,
Okay, let's
Well, we're not.
focus on,
Okay,
so,
now, and she left here, administrator with a title and took another job for 190,000 or whatever it was, 2 years later. Thank you, Alpena County, for giving her that title.
so Bill is talking about a option with the experience. I'd be comfortable with the experience, but maybe not the 10 years.
So
Does anybody else have any?
I do. I think I have it worded that might kind of fit almost what everybody wants here.
Okay.
So I would like to make a motion that the requirements For the county administrator position, high school graduate, yes, absolutely. Bachelor's preferred, but also would consider 5 years experience, which don't forget a bachelor's degree is 4. So 5 years to experience in judiciary, management, or governmental. And I think that's going to be more encompassing of the position rather than just a blanket bachelor's.
Okay.
But so I can repeat that because I did just add some wording to it. So the requirement, the motion that I'm going to make is the requirements for the Alpena County administrator position definitely has to be a high school graduate, bachelor's degree preferred, but also a comparable experience of 5 years in judiciary, management, or governmental would be considered as well. Do I have a second?
Any second. What? Yeah. I'll second it. No, second it.
Discussion. Oh, sorry. Sure.
Yeah.
I just spoke over the whole county commissioners. You see that? I just
Okay,
hijacked it.
Discussion on
But
this?
I'm open for discussion, like,
So you're limiting the experience to judiciary, which means certainly to the courts.
right?
And what was the second caveat?
Management.
What other kind of, you said
or
judiciary?
Governmental.
Governmental.
So 3 of them.
What about somebody who comes in with a business experience where they're dealing with a bunch of different organizations, even if they're with a major nonprofit, for example?
Sure.
So I think
I think your management would encompass that.
they need to be, they have to work in management in, either business or governmental affairs or something to that effect.
Could you include business?
Could. I could amend my motion to include business.
Okay.
I think, I kind of wanted to encompass it a little bit so that administration at DPI could actually apply as well, because it could be somebody that's in management there. So I really like that, not necessarily someone that has like county experience or government or experience, like some of the things that we deal with. I think people can learn, and like Mary Catherine, yes, she was a lawyer, so she did, encompass like judiciary, but she had no experience as an administrator. And I mean, she did great, as she got into it. So I think people are able to learn. I really would like to leave it open. I'd love to see more applicants that Amy Sell could go through instead of just, maybe she only received 7. They received 7. So, I mean, I think it'd be great if they received 30, and they could really like dig in and interview people. That's what we're paying for.
Yep. So I know Commissioner Francisco's concern was the business.
Sure.
Not
Sure.
excluding that. I want to make sure it's included.
Yeah, I agree. So the wording would be judiciary, business, management, or governmental. So the 4 categories.
We don't need to hire a politician.
No. You don't want a politician?
Enough of those right here.
I'm out. I guess I'm not concerned.
So
Mayor Johnson's gonna apply.
you're amending your motion then to?
Yeah, to include business as
Okay,
well.
support that. So any further discussion?
Is she talking degree too? What is she talking about?
No,
No,
equivalent.
5 years equivalent experience. And then, that's one thing too. Don't forget a bachelor's degree is 4 years.
Yep.
So, and an associate's degree, you're looking at 2 to 3.
Okay.
So, it's, that's why I kind of went on the high end as far as experience.
Okay,
So I thought 5 years,
so we have motion, support, discussion, any further discussion? If not, roll call.
Commissioner LaHaye,
No,
Commissioner Lalone,
yes.
Commissioner Peterson,
I'll go, yes.
Commissioner Fournier,
Yes.
Commissioner Francisco,
I'll go yes.
Commissioner Kozlowski,
Yes.
motion carried.
Get this meeting going.
Yeah, I know.
Thank you.
Okay. We're just now getting out of the consent down. Yeah. Okay. So I guess now we're moving over to payment of.
I can't find it.
Terry.
Question?
Any questions on the bills? How's your time? Wait a minute, let me just see.
I only had one.
Oh, I do, so I just have a question. Oh, wait a minute. I'm gonna hold up.
Had one on the, Eric on the car. From the,
Oh, yeah, I did too. Saw that.
on the body work or whatever he had done,
7,000,
for
$6,000.
$5,000.
Prior to, the end of the year, we hit a year. With that company in the year.
Any other, no other questions? If not,
I'll take a motion.
motion by Commissioner Peterson, support by Commissioner Fournier.
Commissioner Osmer?
Yes.
Commissioner Lalone?
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson?
Yes.
Commissioner Fournier?
Yes.
Commissioner Francisco?
Yes.
Commissioner LaHaye?
Yes.
Commissioner Kozlowski?
Yes. So now the item that I added is the discussion of the two items for the NMMA bill for the computer and the monitor. I was in the treasurer's office and I have a copy of one of the bills, one of the invoices, and email on the monitor. Apparently, the county purchased IT purchased a computer, no, a printer and a monitor for the recycling. And the invoice was dated August 10th last year. So after having a conversation with the treasurer, my recommendation would that we would pay this because we have what, two more surcharges that we would
So
be.
the surcharge distribution to Northeast Michigan Materials Management. So the invoice is for a printer, it's from August. It still has not been paid. There is a monitor that IT purchased for Northeast Michigan Materials Management that my understanding that the IT director never actually billed Northeast Michigan Materials Management. She repeatedly turned over the bill, his words, to the commissioner's office to be presented to the Northeast Michigan Materials Management. But the two bills together is almost $500 worth of equipment that the county's paid for equipment for Northeast Michigan Materials Management, which we have not been reimbursed. At this time, we are receiving surcharge funds in the treasurer's office and dispersing those funds to Northeast Materials Management every 2 weeks, and we're just about done with that. So I don't know if this board would like me to withhold the money that is owed to the county from Northeast Materials Management from their surcharge disbursements. I do withhold the cost allocation for the year that's budgeted for them to pay us. Or if we want to try to get them to pay it again.
Yeah.
May I? So I'm the treasurer of that board. I don't remember receiving those invoices.
Well, we can send them again and we can get you a copy of the email where you had an email correspondence with my chief deputy a few months ago.
The last bill we paid was October 2023 for $136.70, or excuse me.
Yeah, no, this is totally separate invoice. We can make sure you get the invoice
Yep,
again. That's
that's
not a
fine.
problem.
Because I don't remember receiving it in the first place. And we still have a credit for overpaying a cell phone bill of $136.72,
Yeah, and I wouldn't know anything about that.
right?
So
You can always reach out to me via email or a phone call
We have,
before it gets, I don't recall that.
at least on the
Yeah.
printer one, and that's fine.
okay, so these will be paid then.
Yes, absolutely.
So we'll put these on hold and these will be paid before the next meeting. So you'll get those to them again?
Yeah, I can get the one, the other one, we have to get IT to actually bill them.
Okay. Jennifer, you talked to,
Yes.
okay. All right, good enough. Next item, I take it you're Todd Williams.
Yeah,
Lucky guess.
good afternoon.
Hopefully I'm coming before you with something a little less controversial today. My name is Todd Williams. I'm President and General Counsel of Clean and Green Michigan. We're your PACE Program Administrator. As of February 13th, the PACE statute in Michigan has been amended. Because of that amendment, what we've brought before you is an amendment to your PACE program report, which will bring it in line with the current statute. The overall changes in the statute, there was a little bit of cleanup, a couple of large changes. One, there's an expansion of PACE. It can now be property assessed clean energy, can now be used to finance being termed as environmental hazard PACE here in Michigan, basically resiliency in any other place in the country. It would allow commercial property owners to borrow money to clean up their potable water systems, to harden property against storms and floods, or to mitigate lead paint. And so that is kind of one major change in the statute. The other changes really were made to actually address issues we've seen in the PACE marketplace of property owners wanting to be able to choose their level of protection that they want. We've had one of the strongest and most strict savings to investment ratio and savings key requirements in the country. It has been, I want to say, weakened significantly, but it has been put into the hands of the commercial property owner to choose how much protection they would actually want in the form of a guarantee, in the form of an SIR, and making it waivable by them. The interesting thing that I'm not sure anybody really thought about, and with us leaving it in place, frankly, the county still does not have to approve a project. The property owner thinks it's a great idea to waive, and the county doesn't think it's a great idea to waive, the county still has a say so. You don't have to enter into a special assessment agreement, allow the financing to go forward for any reason in particular. And so, it's not completely just up to them. The final major change is that the new construction, how we've actually managed new construction projects have been codified into the statute. And so all of the changes in the PACE program report are meant to address the changes in the statute and bring it in line with current best practices. Your program report being adopted in 2022 actually was one that did not need very many changes. I rewrote one last night or wrote up possible amendments for one adopted in 2013. It is way out of line with best practices. We learned a lot from 2013. From 2022 to now, the only real changes I'd recommend are based off of the statutory changes.
I'll make that a motion. We approve the resolution 2404.
Okay, so we have a motion by Commissioner Peterson,
I'll support that motion.
support by Commissioner Lalone. Discussion, questions? I do have a question on one of my things that I wrote down here is how many projects have been completed for Alpena since March of 2022?
Zero. We've had interest from, I believe, 3 different property owners. One project did not move forward at all. It's a hotel project which did not move forward. And the other 2 moved forward with other types of financing. I will say, I charged my team very hard when we talk with potential property owners, when they contact us. Our job is not to sell PACE. If there is a better source of financing for them, if it's a better fit, we are going to encourage property owners all the time to not borrow the PACE money to move forward. It's a tool that's there, and if it fits and if it works, great. We want to make it available for them. But I'm not, here, and as a company, we're not here to force property owners only to look at PACE.
So of those 3, you said 3 projects that didn't move forward? Were they all commercial properties?
For properties that's clean energy in Michigan, it can only be commercial, industrial, agricultural. Multifamily was counted as commercial as long as it's 4 units and above. But there is no single family residential.
Anyone else have any questions? Okay, well, we have a motion in support. You don't need roll call on this one, so all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I'm gonna apologize and take off a little early. I left my 6th daughter at home by herself. So,
Oh, thank you for attending.
Thank you.
Sorry it took so long to get you up there.
okay.
Next item is the Amazon Business for Government. That would be Tessa Sullivan. There she is.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. I'm going to share my screen. Thank you very much for having me here today. I enjoyed the conversation. I did work with Mary Catherine. At the end of last year, we were prepared to roll out an Amazon business account for Alpena County. The holidays ended up coming up sooner than we expected. And so now it ended up kind of going into this approval, which is, I think, probably smarter. Lynn has been great to work with. So thank you, Lynn and Steve. And thank you, everyone, for listening today and for this opportunity. Okay. Okay. Are you able to see the simplify buying for government?
Yes.
Okay, great. So Amazon Business is just like everything you know and love about Amazon, but for businesses. Alpena County, the other counties within Michigan, township cities. I mainly just work with governments within Michigan. You have the opportunity to access a single Amazon business account and provide that down to your departments. The benefit to your departments is that they can utilize the benefits that you made available to them, which is tax exemption on all purchases based on you uploading your tax exemption information. Additional discounted pricing. All businesses on Amazon Business receive up to 15% standard discounts on our products compared to Amazon.com. So tax exemption, discounted pricing, and then all departments act siloed just as they are within your county today. So they can have their own administrator within their department on the account, decide what users they want to have to make purchases or to make purchase requests. If they want to, allow people to be window shoppers, which is a common feature. And the window shoppers is nice because it allows people within the departments access to the better pricing and the additional products on Amazon Business compared to Amazon.com, and then to request these items to purchase from their department manager. They can also, through the business model, each department can decide what payment option works best for them. If they have a credit card for their department, they can use that. Most often we see that invoicing is preferred, and we provide each department that chooses their own invoice. They can also decide their invoice preferences. So there's a lot of customization within a business account at Amazon for each department to act on their own and to receive the benefits that you provide them by providing this Amazon business account as a whole. So another thing that benefits the county is all of the spend between departments can accumulate up into unlocking a rebate for the county in total. So once spent in 12 months, it reaches over $100,000. Alpena County qualifies for 1% back in an ACH deposit into your account. This is in a 12-month period, and it's 1% of the 100,000 or more dollars that all departments have spent within Amazon in 12 months. So that's a benefit to you. And then, of course, the benefits going down to the departments is the Amazon business account with better pricing, tax exemption, payment options. And if you choose, you can provide Business Prime. So an Amazon business account is free. An Amazon Business Prime account, it costs money. Business Prime is just like personal prime. It's fast and free shipping. For new accounts like Alpena County, we would offer Business Prime free for 1 year. However, after year 1, the standard costs would apply. And in theory, if you do receive that rebate, the rebate would be a great way to pay for your Business Prime. The prime cost for a standard, what I would recommend for Alpena County is $1,299. That allows you to have 100 unique logins. We call them users onto your account. And this is spread out to every single department. If you choose not to pay for Business Prime, and that's okay too. All features that I discussed in the beginning are still available. Every department can set up by their own group. They can receive the advantages of a business account with discounted pricing, pay by invoice, and tax exemption. Free shipping will apply for all orders over $35. And Amazon Business is a great way for departments like even your fairgrounds department to receive a lot of the items that you need quickly, whether it's office supplies, IT peripherals, or supplies just within the county programs.
Is this where we can ask questions?
Yes.
Did we
yes.
lose? Oh, we thought we lost you.
Sorry.
It just was like dead silence, dead air there for a hot second.
Sorry. So I've actually never been in a county board meeting, so I'm not sure like what motion I say to it's open now. So
I didn't know either for a
You
long
just
time.
say any questions.
okay. So are there any questions?
Any questions?
I have a few. I'm sorry. So you would offer Amazon Business Prime free for 1 year? Could we cancel at the end of that year without retribution?
Yes, you can cancel completely. Nothing will be
For
changed.
the Prime, I mean, sorry.
For the Prime, you can cancel for the Prime, nothing will be changed. Your account will stay as it is. So any groups, we call them groups, any departments that you set up, users under that department, everything will remain the same, whether you cancel Prime or whether you have Prime. The only difference after you cancel Prime is just that fast and free shipping for orders under $35. For all Business Prime eligible items, just like personal Prime, but for business. And yes, you can cancel at any time. Typically, I like to tell my customers to click the reminder for 5 days before the renewal to know when the renewal is, if you're going to pay or not. But you might need this approved before 5 days. Something that I like to do with my customers is a business review twice a year. And part of that review is sharing with you how much you've saved in shipping. So if that cost of shipping, what you've saved in shipping, plus if you do receive a rebate for all department spend, we can decide whether or not it makes sense to continue with Business Prime. But nothing will change if you don't continue.
I can't imagine we would ever place an order under $35. How many groups did you say we'd be entitled to have with just the app? How many? 100?
If you go medium, it's 100. Small is up to 10 users. I don't know how many.
Okay, oh, I see it. Okay, thank you.
Well over 50.
Yes, and
50 departments?
We have 50, well over 50.
50 departments.
Correct.
Okay.
So honestly, like the biggest bonus of it being Prime rather than business standard would just be quicker shipping.
yes. Yep. For the Prime eligible items, which is,
We have Amazon Business.
I think a lot of the departments just have their own Amazon account. So I think this would be a cost saving.
Paying for shipping.
We pay for the annual memberships.
And they're paying 100, I believe it's the 179 each individual once, which would be nice to get away from. And these are being processed on credit cards constantly, which would be nice to get away from, so we can use net 30.
So
That's
then
something that's, we see very common, within counties and like larger, municipalities, which is why, this program is so popular. There are a lot of, we call them rogue users and groups, paying either on Amazon.com or just with their credit cards and getting reimbursed. You can't control if they have tax exemption or not, so that's another headache for them if they have to submit that afterwards, or if there's several, $175 subscriptions out there. Um, so this is a great way to just streamline and own your account for the entire county and offer this benefit down to the departments.
So the two people that I think would impact is the treasurer, maybe, and clerk, because you're paying the bills,
You mean as opposed to putting it on a credit card?
however they do it, yeah. I mean, what are your thoughts on this? I know she just mentioned her thoughts, but I,
Like, the invoicing better than a credit card because that, to me, it's more transparent.
Yeah.
Because if you put something on your credit card, it's a done deal. You're gonna pay your credit card bill regardless of what was purchased, but
Yeah.
you can dispute an invoice.
so and I think what Commissioner Malone was thinking is that we do the 1 year.
What?
Yeah, that's where you're going with that, right?
Well, that's what I would do on a personal level.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
if we're already
So
doing it, then
Are you gonna remember to cancel it?
So,
We're already paying
five-day reminder.
$9 pretty,
And it would get covered at the
not good.
Right.
business review twice annually.
Yeah,
I guess the point that the treasurer made was that the county is already engaged in the business activity through the essentials package with all these individuals. I mean, to condense and consolidate would be more,
And to move to net 30 and stop using those credit cards.
exactly, would be much more efficient and cost-effective means of doing business.
Treasurer level, do you think that we're paying in all the different essential fees more than $1,299?
I really have no idea how many departments are actually using Amazon and ordering through Amazon on a regular basis to be able to give a good response to that. I would say probably, but I don't know for sure.
One thing that some of the other commissioners don't know is I was at Parks. And it was definitely a topic of discussion because they were trying to buy supplies local. But they were trying to also save some funds. And so they had ordered some things through Amazon at quite a larger discount that they actually, well, what started is they went to go somewhere and they didn't have the product that they used. So then they ordered it off Amazon, of course, and used the credit card. And so that actually was a discussion that was actually at Parks last week, I believe. Just,
Parks is
Oh.
really popular within our
Yeah.
counties and, municipalities because of that exact reason. You usually need something fast for something upcoming. It's also a little more of those items that Amazon specializes in. So our Parks and Recs departments, usually utilize Amazon quite a lot. And it's also a bit unknown to the point of, I believe the treasurer is, there could be departments signed up on Amazon Business, and there could be departments just signing up on Amazon. And because of privacy purposes, we don't have any visibility into Amazon personal accounts. So, it's really kind of like a blind spot, which is why this would bring all, rogue users and departments into one. And then you can make that decision coming up at renewal, whether or not you think it's worth continuing that $1,300 spend. And if it's not, then you can keep everything the way it is. It's just shutting off that fast, like 2-day prime shipping for free.
and you did say Alpena County qualifies for the 1%.
So the rebate program is only unlocked when all spend totals over $100,000 in 12 months. I think you would be able to reach that. Just $100,000 is a lower amount from what I see within municipalities similar to your size. So you would take all department spend in 12 months. Once it reaches $100,000, from $0 to anything it ever gets to, you get 1% back through ACH into the account that you choose.
Is that why it's 1% and not 2 or 3 though? Because we're probably only gonna be around in that kind of range for the 100,000? Or is there a
That's
reason why we're not higher? I'm just curious because on some of the paperwork, it has 1%, 2%, or 3%. I'm just
No,
wondering
I'm
why we
glad
fall on the one.
I'm glad you asked that. So once you reach 100,000, you unlock 1%. If you reach 175,000, you get 2% back all the way down to $0. So not between 100 and 175, but 2% on all 175. If you reach 250,000 in 12 months spent for all departments, you receive 3% back on that $250,000. So it's really it's a tier of based on how much you spend, all departments spend, I should say.
And when is that distributed? Is that at the end of the year that cash back is distributed? When is that done? Or is that like done once or quarterly, or how does that work?
Yep, great question. So it's done, you decide the 12-month time frame at any time. So, I would recommend about a month, within a month after it's rolled out, we offer to all departments, we get them all enrolled, we offer a user training. Everyone's familiar with how to save money and access the account. And then that way, it's a little bit more mature spend as far as your time frame begins. Then you take 12 months from there, and then that's when the time frame ends. You'll always be able to track your rebate on your account and how you're accumulating toward it and what tier you're going to be hitting or you're projected to be hitting. Once that 12 months from start to finish ends, we have you complete like an ACH approval form, and we submit the money into your account. And that's just once, that's not quarterly.
So in that last month, say we're at 95,000, you get to order 200 cases of toilet paper. It's made that 100 grand.
Yeah.
Find someplace to put it. Just kidding.
Exactly. Which is the nice part of the rebate tracker as well.
So the question still is, I guess I misunderstood. You're saying, Kim, that we're already using this, except we're using something similar, or we're using Amazon Prime, but everyone has.
You have separate departments that have already set up a department Amazon account.
This would be easier for you if we consolidated that?
Oh, I think it'd be better for everybody if we consolidated that. You'd have less fees.
I use Business Prime at my restaurant. 100,000 is not,
100,000 for you doesn't seem like much, but I'm just a normal
no,
guy.
I mean, for a business, for my business,
Yeah,
I'm not getting 100,000, but I know the county would get that.
okay.
Yeah, it would depend on what departments start to use it. And I think you would probably see more use. I'm sure, I don't believe our maintenance department is using Amazon at all. I mean, just think of maintenance itself.
Yeah.
Maintenance, parks. My office does not use an Amazon account, but I know like 911 does. That's the only one I can think of off the top of my head. 911 doesn't. You don't have an Amazon account? No. Okay, so I'm thinking somebody else and I'm lost. Sheriff's office, there we go. Just the sheriff's office maybe could end up with 100,000 just there.
Invoice, if we do the 30-day, does that come to like the treasurer and the clerks and then get shut down to departments, or will they get put to each department? Because they may have a problem if it just goes up and you bought a bag of washers.
Yeah.
So that's sorry.
Think she
That's
heard
something
you.
that you can decide. Each department typically will receive their own invoice, but if you want to have the invoice for your department go to, the head of the county within the treasurer department, that can happen. One person within each.
I think probably that's not a good idea.
They go to the departments just like any other invoice.
Yeah.
The lines.
Department would be responsible for coding and turning that into
Right.
the clerk's office for payment, just like any other one invoice.
With the line of accounting on it.
Okay.
And another idea to keep in mind for the invoicing, so each department has their own invoice. You can decide to receive an invoice for every purchase or once a month. The once a month is nice to increase the cash flow available to them because the net 30 doesn't start until the day you receive your invoice. So really you have more than 30 days to pay for a lot of the orders, if that makes sense.
That's a nice clarification.
Okay, so what would you guys like to do?
Right, for a year.
Yeah.
But it's free, right?
Wait, in prime.
Yeah, business partner.
Yeah.
Right, for a year.
And then we're gonna get signed up for that 5-day or whatever it is, 5-day notice and a review
Yes.
twice.
Mhm.
So Chairman, I'll go ahead and make the motion that we go for I believe it was a medium package, rate of
Yes.
$1,299 after the 1 year free. So let me rephrase that. Sign up for the free year and see how that goes. And then if it goes well, but we'll go for the medium.
Okay,
I'll support
And
that.
then it's structured the manner that Treasurer Ludlow suggested.
so we have a motion by Commissioner Osmer and a support by Commissioner Peterson. Any other discussion?
I have a little nugget. I think movements like this are so, I do love to shop local, but I would like to say movements like this that bring more revenue into the county without upping people's taxes are so crucial. Like, I know it's not like this mammoth amount, but when we make movements like this brings more money into the general fund, and then that's where we don't have to, you know what I mean, hurt everybody that lives in this county. So I just kind of want to throw that out there that I'm not opposed to shopping local. I definitely shop lots local, and I know we all talk about that quite a bit, but we are trying to make movements on a county level to try avoid increasing people's taxes. And I know it's every single commissioner on this board has voiced this very loudly that we're trying very hard to make that kind of movement regular. So that's a little soapbox.
Yep. So a roll call.
Commissioner Lalone,
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson,
Yes.
Commissioner Fournier,
Yes.
Commissioner Francisco,
Yes.
Commissioner LaHaye,
Yes.
Commissioner Osmer,
Yes.
Commissioner Kozlowski.
Yes. Thank you.
Great, thank you. We're excited. And I also want to say that we do have local buyers to Alpena County, businesses that sell on Amazon within Alpena County. So we'll make sure to flag them on your account so you can still buy local and support local businesses on Amazon.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Fine. Next up is Steve Smigelski. For capital improvement plan.
Boy, are we gonna have fun talking about AI. I see by the schedule that we only wanted to talk about federal fiscal year 2024. So you share that for us?
I am
Or
going
does
to.
everybody have?
They should.
That's the one you're talking about.
Yes, sir.
Got it.
Okay, the first item that we have, but before we get started, I think it's important to mention that none of these projects have been submitted yet. The FAA doesn't have a budget yet because Congress hasn't passed one. But if we do get a budget, I have already wrangled my way with the ADO's office for FAA. If they're aware of how badly we need the snow removal equipment, so they will be amongst the first grants that get pushed through when the budget is released. But the first item is building development for the T hangars. These would be the 20 nested T hangars, 10 in each building, 2 buildings. This is being funded through the bipartisan infrastructure law. And the local match for this is going to be $1,250. These T hangars we're only building 20. We already have 31 letters of intent on hand to occupy. So I'm confident that as soon as we cut the ribbon on them, they're going to fill up within a matter of weeks. And this will probably generate about $48,000 annually to the county in new revenues. Next item is replacement of the 2 plow trucks. Plow 1 and plow 2 are both past their serviceable life according to the FAA registry. The replacement cost for these vehicles is going to be in the vicinity of $1,200,000. The local match of that will be $30,000. But we are also going to be applying for PFC pay application number 5. We're currently in application number 4, which is taking care of all the projects that we've already got submitted, minus the runway. So when these projects are approved, and the PFC money is collected, takes care of the county match. We will have to put the money up front, but as soon as the PFC application is closed, the county will be reimbursed in full for the money. The next item is a rotary plow, commonly known in the local parlance as a snow blower. That one is, total cost on that is $850,000. Local match is going to be $21,250. Again, that will be offset by the PFC collections and pay application 5. And those are the 3 projects for federal fiscal year 2024.
Okay, thank you. Questions?
I have a question.
Sure.
Have we got the snow blower fixed yet? The one,
Snow blower currently, I want to drink arsenic every time somebody says it. The fellow that came up from Illinois was an utter disappointment. He arrived at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, spent about an hour and a half looking at the snow blower, speculated it's a hydraulic pump, got in his truck and drove back to Illinois. So what we have done is Sunday, if you were out and about, you may have noticed that the snow blower was driven through town with escort vehicles. It's currently at CNS carriers. They're disassembling the hydraulic system along with the drive motors. The hydraulic pumps and the drive motors are going to be sent to, well, they're going to troubleshoot them right then and there. Whatever parts are needed, whether it be just some small replacement impellers, hoses, whatever it takes. Or we may have to go for full replacement of some parts. Right now, the best speculation we have is a repair bill probably between $1,000 and maybe as high as $20,000. But we're not going to know until everything's taken apart, troubleshot, put back together again.
Nice. Okay. Anything else? Okay. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Eric, next up.
I'm gonna make this quick. For those that don't know, back in 2007, 2008, the former sheriff, the sheriff's office, the county of Alpena had a contract with the state of Michigan to provide security out at CRTC Air Base here in Alpena. In 2019, the sheriff's office lost that contract. So for the last 5 years, we have not provided security out there. It's come to my attention in August of this year, the current contract, which is held by Allied Security, is expiring. The state is accepting bids, or will be accepting bids for new security contract. This is more educational, let you guys know that this is available. I'm more than willing to try to put a bid together if we're willing to do that. However, not only is it a lot of work on our office, but there's partners, Kim Ludlow's office and the clerk's office who get a lot of work out of these contracts. So I guess I just need to know if you guys are wanting me to go down this adventure or if it's not worth our time. And I don't know, like I said, they're going to be accepting bids. I have to go to a meeting March 5th out at the Air Base to get the specifications and everything that they're looking at for the contract. I don't know how much profit we can make. I won't know until we put a bid together and run numbers and all that stuff. That proposal is due April 1st. So it's going to, after that March 5th meeting, there's going to be a lot of timeframes, deadlines that we have to meet. It's going to go real quick if we choose to do this. But I don't have answers on how much we would make, how much I could guess. I don't know.
Eric, you could probably, the new commissioners that like John and Brendan, I've been on here. We know what that brought in for the county.
About $105,000 a year.
Yeah.
I'm looking,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it paid for patrol cars and it did a lot of good.
Well, I think it's at a minimum you go, because other than your time, we're not losing anything right yet.
I got lots of that, so.
Sure. What does that, and pardon me, because I'm not familiar. This was definitely premium, but what does that entail as far as load on your end? Does that take a deputy when plain lands, or can you just?
So when we had the contract in years past, we had a whole additional staff hired to operate security out at the base. So you're talking, and like I said, this is the numbers that I'll learn March fifth. I think last time we had like 24 employees.
Yeah, pretty close.
You said 24 additional employees to.
It's like a whole nother department.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a.
Actually, I think, didn't we just recently transfer in?
No, we did not. That is one thing that we had talked about that
Thought about it.
didn't really pick up traction, was we have $32,000 left in the base security fund. But if you're going to look at reopening and reprocessing, you're gonna need a lot more than that to get them up and running.
I know, sorry.
So
I know, Commissioner Peterson, you mentioned that, and Commissioner, or excuse me, Treasurer Ludlow says about 105,000 a year. However, that may be the reason that the county lost the contract in the first place. And the private entity was able to, underbid because we were using those funds for other necessities to support the security contract out there. So we have to be cautious with that.
Well, I have a pretty good idea why we didn't get the contract, because I think our bid was way more than the current. And I know for a fact that the current company came in and kind of undercut or came in with pretty
The
significant.
last contract that I saw that did not get accepted, I think it was 3 years at $5 million. But if you figure you got 25 people, that's like $1.5 million in wages per year.
Well, and that's roughly what you're paying in a contract. So.
Who manages that group if we brought it back? Is that you?
Well, ultimately, yeah, because I contractor. Before we had a site supervisor out there. But I think we can do it better than what we did before. I think you would have to hire somebody to say, go ahead and supervise this. It all depends on how we set it up.
And in 2016 through 2019, that base security was bringing in roughly 1.5 million between 16 and 19. But of course, by the time we look at our expenditures, we were expending them all as well, because part of that we were bringing over to the general fund, like I said, about $105,000 a year. And it was paying for sheriff patrol cars and that type of thing as well.
Did we charge a cost allocation to that then, Kim?
I don't believe so. I'd have to go and I'd have to double check.
That's okay. I just.
Enough time, yeah.
I like the idea of the jobs.
Yeah. Well, people are doing the job. I mean, it wouldn't necessarily be the same ones, but they already have people doing base security, so.
Last time we took it over, so there was when we took it over the first time, there was a previous security company. I think we hired a lot of those people, and that was really early in my career, so I'm not familiar on exactly how.
Stepping stone for them to go from base to sheriff's cash is a.
Yeah.
Example.
Yeah.
So.
Prior, we had, I think 4 or 5 certified deputies out there. Everybody else were special deputies and non. I always had one certified person at all times out there.
Okay.
But
Ridiculous.
from the little I've read about previous contracts, the contract allows payment from the state for the different levels of employees you have. And I know that kind of does not make sense, but depends on the personnel you have, how much money you can charge.
Okay, so you will bring back some information then to us.
Yeah, I guess I'll go to the budget meeting and I'll get started, and obviously you guys have to put your final stamp on it if you want to do it.
At least by the next meeting or the March 1st, you'll have some information to at least give maybe the finance committee, full board, a quick update on what you found out.
I really did want to let these ladies know because they take up a lot of the work. 24 employees going through her office, and her office is a big deal for them.
So she looked excited when
And that it has to, if we went to bid on it, it would have to be bid by April 1st.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Okay.
saying.
Okay.
Sheriff, if I may, when you go, I'd like to attend with you if I'm allowed. I would be interested. Hear what they have to say. I mean, DMVA personnel will be there, I assume, and.
So when I submitted who I was gonna attend, they were very specific on only 2 representatives from each agency or
Okay.
company.
If you've got already 2, then that's fine. If they didn't they limit it, that's fine.
Apologize for that.
That's okay. Just thought if there was space available that I could fit in.
Okay, thank you. Yep,
Thank you very much.
okay. Jennifer, next up.
Yep, so in December, we had amended the procurement and purchasing policy for the credit card agreement. We thought that the credit union was gonna have us go person-specific for our credit cards, but we had a discussion with them, the treasurer and I. And they said that since we are grandfathered in with our current group credit cards, that they would allow that to stay that way. And then any new credit cards or new employees, they have person, it would have to be person-specific for those cards. So we're looking to amend the policy to go along with what we're currently doing with the group credit cards.
The other issue is we have to update what we call Table A, which is basically who has what credit cards. What you have right now is showing Bonnie Friedrich as the county clerk's card. Try to read this one. Let me get it. Tom Lacrosse is still on the county credit cards. Steve Kalashewski is still on the county credit cards. So guess what, folks? We need to update this Table A as well. It needs to be approved and approved in the minutes so that it can be forwarded to the credit union so they can update the accounts as well.
So then we just need to get that amended first then.
We have a contact person for each department for the credit card. So if you look at Table A, you can see the contact person with their cell phone number. We still need a contact person for the commissioner's office credit card.
Is that the little, I got a spreadsheet here or whatever with the little yellow.
Yep, the yellow one is the one that we're missing. We don't have a contact person for that one yet.
Okay.
The diagram to the left, with the spreadsheets you have to the left, is what we currently have. And the one to the right would be your change, what you're changing to, who's going to be, the treasurer's office, clerk's office. And consolidating those cards a little bit.
So we just with the update, I guess, that the commissioner's office could be put is there a commissioner or county administrator phone number?
Oh, we should put a cell phone number just in case.
I know that's, there's a county administrator cell phone? There isn't? Oh, I thought there was.
I have a question, sorry, just out of curiosity, we have 2 cards for Alpena County Parks Commission. We have 3 parks, and then we have 2.
They don't each get their own card.
Oh, that's right, I forgot they checked them
Yeah,
out.
they have to come and check that out to use.
Does IT need 2 though? There's only 3 staff.
IT has 3 staff at this time. We have your Steve Musso, Logan Kemp, and Kyle. Can't think of Kyle's last name right.
Peck. P-E-C-K.
Oh, yeah.
Extraordinaire, because he's fantastic.
Well, I guess if this will be Schedule B then, or Schedule A rather?
Yes, this table is replacing what we currently have with the outdated information.
But this will be not all
Right.
pieces, yeah.
Just the
So
right,
then what do we do with the county commissioners? Whose name goes in there?
you guys need to decide who you want.
John.
Well, the problem is, that'll work for right now, but then you put a name in there and that person isn't here, just like the ones over here, that could change.
Well,
Right
that's the
now-
whole point. You should be updating this on a regular basis every time you have chaff staff.
I know
You need to.
who has the credit card.
Right now, Kim and Lynn keep the credit cards in their office.
So do you care if we use your name?
You can.
Okay, how about, does anyone have a problem with that? Because I know she's signing the cards out. She signed it out to me. So she knows. Huh?
Pretty good at cards.
I had to go to lunch today. No, but so she knows who's getting it. So if you're willing to do it, and then next year, if you're not willing to do it, we'll take your name off.
Do.
Does that work?
Yes.
Okay. So then as far as the policy, with this as Schedule A,
Mhm.
we need probably a motion to approve the,
The actual policy.
To change the policy first, yeah. And then the Schedule A as well.
So I attached the red line version so you guys can see exactly what we're changing.
Yeah, so I went through this. Does anybody have any questions, concerns about what it, how it, you know? So if not, just make a motion to approve the policy.
I'll do that.
So we have a motion by Commissioner LaHaye
I'll support.
and support by Commissioner Fournier. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Aye. Passed.
What about table A? Because we need that in the minutes, that you're accepting, that you're voting on and accepting table A as a procurement. minutes.
Okay, so then a motion to approve and accept table A as part of the big policy. Motion by Commissioner Fournier and support by Commissioner Osmer. Any discussion on that? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Thank you.
Next up is what? So as I've stated in the past, let's not belabor this. If you have something to add. If not, we'll press through. Travis is not here. So he doesn't have a voice then. I don't think there was anything, well, we discussed it. It's all in the consent calendar. If there's any questions with that. Oh, moving on. What's in public safety?
That's me. I take so many notes, so sorry about that.
Keep it brief.
I'm gonna try. I'm very wordy. Okay, so do you want me to just go, I'm gonna go ahead and do all mine?
Not yet. Well, yeah, if you want, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So courts and public safety, one thing as far as for January, there was 720 calls, 23 texts that came in. There was 1,904 entries into the system. They're also offering active shooting trainings. These are funded by a federal grant, so at no cost to Alpena County. There also was another $8,000 grant that was awarded. This funded training that is specific for caring for an individual injury person. So I know Kim took the lead on that as well with Al and the first responder distribution. I'm on shenanigans here, so I'm gonna cover NEMSCA. It was pretty, it wasn't a whole lot. Their expenses are healthy. There wasn't anything mammoth that came to attention that had to be addressed. They were trying to purchase the AAA building that's next door to the NEMSCA. Unfortunately, that didn't go through. So they were looking at some other options to expand. That just happened to be like a really good opportunity because of course it's like right there and they could put some certain things in there as well as like another head start and things of that nature. Thunder Bay Transportation, our hearts go out to Thunder Bay Transportation after that accident. That was very heartbreaking. The staff was very, very shook up. So they had to like watch the footage from the driver's perspective. They had sorry, it was very gut wrenching talking to some of the staff. They were all pretty shook up about it. They had they did have some counseling offered for them. Some of the drivers were unable to report for a couple of days. Some of the other staff picked up the slack as far as that was concerned. You can imagine how distraught that was. And for that family that was affected, there was 3 people. Thank you, that's sweet. I love that you have a Yankee. Unfortunately passed away from the accident and of no fault to the driver, of course, which most people know, but so that was definitely covered at great extent. And there was a very fast response as far as Thunder Bay Transportation management. Angie Dewey was immediately reported to the scene, immediately supported her staff. So definitely big commendations as far as that is concerned. She is also following up with staff for if they need more counseling or any other things that she can provide. Huge community outreach as far as that was concerned, especially for the family. Lots of people reached out to them. The staff of Thunder Bay Transportation personally raised about $3,000 from themselves to give to that family to offset funeral costs and future care for a family member that that driver did take care of. So I just thought that was really, really special. The leaking roof is, that's been a hot topic for quite some time there. They've had ceiling and wall damage ever since the building was put in. Unfortunately, they have run out of options to follow back up with the group with the building as far as that was concerned from the beginning. So there is some options with Spicer Group ranging from $500,000 to $800,000. We did vote on the repair. It is grant funded, covered. So we did go with the $800,000 bid repair because that will include some of the damage that is inside the building, as well as a new gutter system, new fascia flashings, things of that nature. They will be have a millage renewal on the ballot for August. This is a millage that they already have, but it is coming up for expiration. This supports the dial ride program in our community. So definitely that is something that's very important and affects our older persons community. So just a little noise on that. I'm also now the vice president of that board. Not sure how that ended up. Just kidding. And that, do you want me to cover a little bit of sunken lakes
No,
specific? Okay, I was just checking.
not yet.
Okay, thank you so much. So that's all
Add
Roberts.
in when he talks.
When he talks about parks, okay. Thank you so much. So sorry, I just teared up. It was so sad.
Brenda, personnel.
No, you missed,
No, first now, you're on track, Joe.
yeah, but what about Bill?
You're not
Figures.
done. We're up here yet.
We're not.
Oh, we went, oh, okay. Personnel. Okay, we went over the survey results with Amy Sell. Those are the ones that the county commissioners completed and sent to Amy. We talked about the employees' perks and memberships, and then we went into closed session. Very short.
Commissioner Francis.
Animal Control Ad hoc. So the last meeting was on 1 February. Item specific of discussion was the coordination and cooperation, working with city leadership. The next meeting with city leaders is tomorrow on 28 February to further that discussion, and then we'll report back to our to the ad hoc committee when we finish that meeting tomorrow. One of the things that the ad hoc committee is looking at is management of the animal control shelter itself. There is a proposal that's being submitted by an LLC. That proposal is supposed to be presented at our next meeting on or about 7 March. So hopefully we'll get an update from that. Again, that's one of 2 courses of action that the ad hoc committee is reviewing and considering. On 14 February, I met with the prosecutor just to discuss Public Act 287 to get some further information on that. And the sheriff and I had a telephone conversation with Mrs. Kapala from the Michigan Department of Agriculture and Rural Development to get further guidance because of her experience dealing with local shelters. Again, I mentioned already 28 February, the next meeting with city leaders on the way ahead for the city-county cooperation. And that's subject to any questions. That's pretty much it for animal control at this time.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner LaHaye, planning.
The county planning commission, elected, not much going on there. They elected the new officers for the year. They had the reports from the different people, the Parks and Rec and planning commission members, and I gave a report on the county, and that's about it. Next meeting is March 28th.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Osmer.
Sure. So the Hunt Committee hasn't met since the last time. NEMCOG was canceled. Thunder Bay Marine Sanctuary has not met since the last time. So that leaves me with Parks and Recreation. Just a few items of interest. The Camp Spot app is up and running. One of the items that was flagged was we're going to be looking at the credit card charge and what that amount is because we think it differs. So we're going to be probably recalculating that going forward future, once we kind of hone in on that number. One of the topics of discussion was restructuring how Parks and Recreation is coordinated from a graph perspective, who's at the top. And basically what we had previously was the county administrator was a department head, and we're looking at possibly reforming that. The other item is special ad hoc committee created to come up with a rubric for raises and bonuses in the future for our managers. And then the only other item of interest was discussion on the manager's duties since they've kind of been expanded and raises have been given. Nothing really outstanding.
Okay, and I know she's just chomping at the bit.
No, he covered everything I wanted to.
Okay.
Well, no, like oh no, I'm good.
All right, Commissioner Peterson.
Okay, we had last Friday, we had the ribbon cutting for the new injection well at BOA. And well's performing very good. We're gonna probably close to $1 million a year savings on that by having the injection well in. Number two, we had a meeting with the Material Management Planning Committee. Basically, Alpena is going to be designated the planning agency for the whole region. The region is going to include Alpena, Montmorency, Ascota, Iosco, Alcona. I have not heard back from Presque Isle yet, but I heard positive things that they're planning to go with us. RSS and NAMCOG will help us set up 11-person board made up of the counties in the plan. So that's moving forward. Kim is going to start getting some information from RSS, and it'll get back out to the committees and also to the commissioners. Also, we had this is new. We just had a purchase agreement on airport property for lot 6, which is a corner lot with an option for lot 5. The person that put the bid in wants to be anonymous till we get the attorney review on it, because Mike Mahler from Target had some questions about the contract that he wanted to get changed. So we're going to have a meeting tomorrow. So with our attorney. So that's what I got.
Okay, thank you. I'll go next since I'm here. No, you go.
Thank you. District Health 4, we went over 8 policy updates. We hired an auditor for finance. Syphilis has increased by 5 times over the past 5 years in women in Michigan. Dr. Meyerson suggested that pregnant women should have that test. Meetings are the 3rd Tuesday of every month. Offices are located in Alpena, Sheboygan, Montmorency, Presque Isle, and their hours are 8 to 4.
Okay, thank you.
I don't know if Bill has anything to add to that or not.
They reported on the oil spill at Grand Lake, 700 gallons leaked out of somebody's tank. They're cleaning that up. And they're getting that done, and they're going to monitor the well. There's a couple wells there. One they can't monitor now because it's winterized, and as soon as they open it up, they're going to check and make sure that oil got into the wells there. And so the environmental company is cleaning that up there. In Montmorency County, they got a new office over there. They got a refrigerator in there, so they keep the vaccines there. They don't have a generator, but if the power goes out, they can go to the sheriff's office and they have a cell over there where they can put the stuff in over there. So that's protected there. And I guess that's about it. You mentioned they hired a new accounting firm.
Yes.
To do the audit, so that takes care of everything. And they changed the bank that they were dealing with. They're going to Huntington Bank now instead of an out-of-town bank. So that's about it there.
Okay, all right, thank you. Commissioner Francisco.
The NMRE did not meet in February. The next meeting is next Monday for March. But along those lines, the opioid partners group, we did not meet in February. We met at the end of January, and they're working right now on working in an RFP process for approval to maximize the effectiveness of the opioid settlement funding. And that's still a work in progress, but they're working towards that right now.
Okay. Lynn, could you, and I don't know who did this, but I noticed when I went through, was it, somebody else mentioned that something was missed, but some of the committees that we're on, just make sure, like, if he's on that opioid partnership,
Oh, okay.
we just put that, so that way it's just visible for
Okay.
questions.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And I'm gonna just talk about the DARE and not that I have a lot, but DARE, we met, and we're shifting, and if Sheriff can kind of add to any comments that I'm talking about here, but we're moving, what we used is the DARE committee. We had a discussion about going in a different direction with teams. I can't remember what it stands for.
Off the top of my head, it's held by police, supported by admissions. Participate as a more modern twist.
Yeah.
Than DARE. It's probably a better fit for our schools. So we're gonna commit a couple officers, the city police are gonna commit a couple officers. State police already have the community trooper, and so we're gonna push forward and try to get police presence back in the school through teams instead of DARE.
So I don't have to say anything else because he covered it all. And then the recycling, we have a meeting on Thursday, Bill and I. And just, I know that I've mentioned to a couple people that Stan, the manager for the recycling, has resigned. And then, other than that, I was out of town last month because my daughter had a baby, so that's it for those committees. Moving on through, we don't have any special orders.
Oh, Chair Kozlowski.
Yeah.
I forgot to update on the fair funds.
Oh, you're too late now.
I know.
Go ahead, quick. I'm just telling you, quick is like.
I'm gonna leave it. I see the agriculture is coming up, so I won't touch on that. Just a couple things. Commissioner Kozlowski joined me for this meeting, which was really nice. I appreciated that. Commissioner Konashevsky had donated $300 worth of dust control to the fairgrounds. There was many discussions about the fair that's coming up this year. I do have a copy of this. So in 2023, the Fair Board raised $24,450 towards improvements on the grounds and things of that nature on their own accord. They do plan on doing something similar this year. But on that token, it was also discussed that they had a lot of great ideas as far as things that they wanted to add and start doing, and there's more activity at the fairgrounds, but unfortunately, there is a large charge that accompanies them. So they wanted to do some different fundraising events, and they're looking forward, maybe we could consider in the future that some of these, that we wouldn't charge them a fee in order that they could hold these fundraising events, and then the money would go towards improving the grounds and such. So I did just want to touch on that just a little bit, that might be coming up down the road for us to review some things like I did take notes somewhere. Oh, yeah, they were talking about like a drive-in theater. They want to do like a haunted house. There was a harvest dinner that they were talking about. So a lot of exciting things and things like that. And yeah, that's plenty. More to come.
Okay, thank you. We don't have any correspondence that I'm aware of. So under new business, we have the discussion for the, most of you should all have a copy of that document memo that we received from CL Murray Refill regarding the fairgrounds. So I just want to get your input and thoughts on this. When I read through it, I had my own thoughts on how I read it and was, receiving the information. I just wanted to get your input on what the rest of your thoughts are on it.
So this can be a little confusing. I did call Courtney Krentz and have a really good discussion. And then I actually, looked over it with a lawyer as well. On the side. Mostly this is, and Courtney is very welcome to come and give like a little presentation and explain this a little bit better. Mostly, if I was gonna sum it up, it would be, it's just easier for them for grants and things like that. It opens them up for more grants, to cash these checks that they're taking in and better transparency as far as taxes. Because right now they're fundraising for all these things to improve the grounds and to do more programs and more things for the fair. But then all this has to go through the agricultural instead of them having their own entity, their own 501c. And I know that's not the best explanation. So I was gonna ask if we want her to come in and talk about this like in a deeper dive, she's more than willing to do that.
I personally, like, the thing that sticks out or jumps out at me in this thing is that only transfers the property interest. And so I have a concern about that.
Sure, absolutely.
I concur. When I read that,
Yeah,
the flag's kind of.
right. It keeps the flag up for me as well. So you're
So
not,
I guess we need to get more information on that, before we sign anything. I don't feel comfortable signing over a transfer of property interest, so.
Have her come in.
So I found that if we did transfer this to a 501c3, that we would no longer have rights to the property. So I don't know how that would affect the merchants building and.
Animal
everything else
control
that we have
shelter.
there, Everything.
MSU for.
So there's,
yeah.
that's my biggest concern with that. So, I guess we need to either,
We have our, we pay every year to review with a lawyer. Wouldn't that be in our best interest to have this reviewed as well
yeah.
by our legal?
Well,
Entity?
I asked Jennifer to check, and you said you did have that or no?
I reached out to an employee that can't advise us.
Oh, that's.
Right.
Okay, so I think we're not gonna do anything right now, and
Sure.
it's not gonna make a difference whether it's this month, next month, or whatever. We need to dig into this, and I guess those are concerned with that same line there, that transfer of property interest is probably the
Yeah.
biggest concern that I'm.
Right.
I would recommend that kind of falls into the agenda, the unfinished business, that's where that should fall in for future.
Yeah. So we'll look more into this and get a better idea of how we should proceed with this. So, but again, I got the letter. I asked Jennifer to do some checking. And again, and I actually asked Robin, I sent her the letter. I know you all have it. Again, if we're all on the same page, we'll just hold off for now until we have some better understanding. Okay, moving on. Next thing is closed session, I guess. Finally here. Okay, we'll go into closed session.
You need a motion.
Need a motion to go into
I'll
closed.
make the motion to go into closed session.
I'll support.
Motion and support. Thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Open
Open session, roll call, please.
Commissioner LaHaye,
Here.
Commissioner Osmer, Commissioner LaLonge, here, Commissioner Peterson,
Present.
Commissioner Fournier, here, Commissioner Francisco,
Here.
Commissioner Kozlowski.
Okay,
I'd like to make a motion that we pay the Clark Hill bills, MS amount, out of the ARP fund transferred into the,
I got you.
$105,284 transferred from the ARPA funds to the general fund and increase the outside attorney fees line item 101-200-801.002 by the $105,284.
There you go.
I'll second.
got it?
so we have a motion by Commissioner Peterson, support by Commissioner Malone. We don't need any further discussion. I think we discussed it. So roll call, please.
Commissioner Peterson,
Yes.
Commissioner Fournier,
Yes.
Commissioner Francisco,
Yes.
Commissioner LaHaye,
Yes.
Commissioner Osmer,
Yes.
Commissioner LaLonge,
Yes.
Commissioner Kozlowski.
Yes. And then we're at public comment. We don't have anybody comment. Okay, we'll move on then.
Yeah. I can't, I got to take the opportunity, quite frankly. Kevin Gibson, and I haven't moved since the last time, which is 390 South Lawn in Alpena. I also wanted to add, as far as the public safety aspect, to cover law enforcement as far as it applies to Alpena Township. Alpena Township, I understand, fulfills its technical obligation as a charter township to have some type of law enforcement component. And that is currently the funding for, part of the funding for the liaison officer at the junior high school, but does not provide any patrol duties or patrol officers for Alpena County or for Alpena Township. I still look at the situation as the township officials want to avoid their own to stop activating their career light there by not voting or having any additional taxes. But once again, I don't think you can operate 120 square miles on 1 mil. I'm understanding that they could increase, make a 5 mil increase without a public vote. That 5 mil increase would provide approximately $1.8 million annually. This has been looked at for some other things within the township, but that the township doesn't necessarily have a spending problem. It has a revenue problem. I feel that the Alpena Township officials continue to look for just the right conclusion so that they can blame the consultant with, oh, this is what the consultant says, this is what we're going to adopt. The city of Alpena covers 9 square miles and the township 120. The township has 0 officers patrolling. The city of Alpena has 17 officers on their staff for 9 square miles. I think it's important to remember that this safety concern is not just limited to Alpena Township. But as I stated earlier, affects the entire county by having the resources, especially in a time when all over the county or all over the country, people to take these jobs in police and fire are tough to come by. I'm asking that you reach out to Alpena Township officials and encourage them to do the right thing, my opinion, I guess, and support their own fire department and support sheriff department coverage for road patrol. I understand Commissioner Malone's tax comments about not increasing taxes, but in this case, I think they've gone a number of decades with the 1 mil operating or just the township or just the, just the township operation. I think it's important to know that Alpena Township has the tax base to take care of these issues. And thank you.
Sure, okay. I know, well, I can let him finish his sentence. So, okay, thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks for listening.
Any other public comment online?
There's nobody online.
All right. To adjourn.
Motion.
Motion here, we have a motion over here.
Support.
Support. Motion by Commissioner Osmer, support by Commissioner Fournier. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Adjourned.
Yeah, or.
Why were